Me. G'day, Chris.
Hey,
Really strong start to the year for you guys. Last couple of games, probably a bit of a downturn in form there. Does that give you guys cause for concern heading into the finals, or is it just business as usual?
Look, I think it's business as usual. From my side, is obviously we've had some disappointing games, particularly slightly missing that opportunity to lock away second. But I think any team, if you offered them third at the start of the season before any games played, they'd probably jump at it. So I think that the good thing is from our two losses, and then even the last game, we've learned plenty, and I think it puts us in good stead. Bouncing back into finals, having a good run at it, having a good close win, and sort of fighting and scrambling back when we played badly to then win in our last game. I think will be really good for us moving forward into these knockout stages.
Thanks, Chris.
Andrew?
Thanks, Patrick. Hey, Chris, I was actually going to ask as well about last night's game and the value of having a close contest this close to finals. What can you kind of learn? And do you actually feel it might be an advantage for you with these must-win games coming up?
Yeah, huge. I think finding a way to win in tournament cricket is massive, and obviously going into knockout cricket now, it's really important. But I think the confidence that Daniel Sams and Gurinder Sandhu in particular can take from defending 12 runs with 2 to go, and then us as a unit as well can be in that position, is you're not really out of it until the fat lady sings, for lack of a better saying. So we fielded poorly again, probably worse than our last game against the Sixers, and then fielded well for 2 overs and were able to scramble back and win a game. So it's something we want to rectify, particularly fielding. That's the one thing we do as a team, and it is an attitude thing. So our attitude and energy levels need to be far better. And really, again, as I said, I think the huge confidence, particularly for the 2 bowlers. And then Alex Hales, Usman Khawaja up front with the bat, the big takeaways, and how we sort of scrapped away to get to 170 at the MCG. I think that's, obviously the Stars game after us was ridiculous, but I think 170 there looks about par or just over par.
And I know he's left the group now because he had to go back for the PSL, but just this development around Mohamed Hussein's action, did you guys have know it was under scrutiny during the tournament? And having been through this yourself, have you been in touch with him to offer him some support during this process?
No, look, we had no clue. To me, he's got a slingy action, and slingy action, there's been plenty of them. So he's just different style of action. So perhaps that's what led to it. But from a team perspective, from a club perspective, and certainly from my own perspective, we just want to stand by him and support him. Having gone through it myself, I know the shock, and it sort of threw me. So I know I've reached out to him, and I'm sure he's going to be really well supported by the PCB. He's been playing for Pakistan for a number of years now, doing well in the PSL. So he's got a really good franchise around him, and a good cricketing board there. And we loved having him at the Thunder. He was fantastic for us, and a great person, great bowler, and we'll support him as much as we need, and we'd love to have him back next year, hopefully, as well.
And if I could just quickly go one more, Patrick, sorry, just on the fact that you go into the knockout and don't know your opponent for a couple of days, does that, I know you play these teams a lot, but does it make planning for that game any different?
Not really. We've got a day off today, which will be nice, and then we'll train tomorrow, have our big training session tomorrow before that game's even played. So it gives us a good look at how those 2 teams go. But as you say, we've played them both twice. We've beat the Strikers twice and lost the Hurricanes once. So, form leading into the finals doesn't really mean too much. It's just about being in your own place and controlling what we can control. So I think if we bring our A game, as we've seen throughout the tournament, we can beat the best teams, and the best team has been the Scorchers. So when we're at our best, we certainly are unstoppable, and that's what we'll be looking to do now, is just peak on a game-by-game basis and not looking too far ahead.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks.
No worries.
Tom?
Hey, Chris. Do you have a preference for who you'd like to face in that final that's coming up?
No, not really. I think they're both different teams now. The Strikers has obviously got Head and Carey back in, where they'll probably bowling's been their strength all tournament, particularly around winning the bash boost points with Rashid Khan and Fawad Ahmed. But now their batting's been strengthened, and I think Nathan Ellis is a huge loss for the Hurricanes, but they've got batters in really good form in McDermott, Wade, and Caleb Jewell. So, it's just a wait and see. It's something that we can't control, and we'll just plan for whoever we're playing after Friday night.
And just secondly, Chris, do you think that if Moses, there were some comments from Moses while he was batting saying, nice throw, mate, it sort of put it on the radar a bit and then he's sighted. Do you think that bowling action gets sighted if Moses doesn't sort of arc up there and that doesn't get sort of beamed out?
It's hard to say. That stuff's said in the heat of the battle, whether he was trying to get under our skin or anything. That the Sixers outplayed us completely in that game, and Hasnain was our best bowler and has been our best bowler in a number of games he played. So, for any opposition to look to target in or try and, get the upper hand, whether it be without the bat or the ball, I think that was obviously a tactic used. And, I'd hate to think he used that tactic to try and get him rubbed out or banned. So I just think it was more to try and upset him, and get him to miss his spots, because he was accurate. It was just, a normal sledge that anyone would do. I don't think that would be a pre-planned thing going into the game.
Cool. And we'll just throw to Jasper for one more question.
Thanks, Patrick. Chris, obviously, Usman Khawaja pretty strong on return. How much confidence does that give you guys that, the strikers and possibly the Hurricanes, they've got their strike weapons back too, but you guys have got a pretty handy player back in your ranks as well?
Yeah, look, we've seen what Uzi can do on all arenas, and we've been in a similar position in BBL 05, where he came in a rich vein of form from the test matches and just went, I think 180 or something. So he's a class player, and he's impressive to watch in that Sydney test, and again at the MCG opening up with Alex Hales. So it's a big threat for other teams having those two open up, and it's great to have someone of his knowledge and experience as well leading the team. I love working with Uzi and playing under Uzi. He's a great guy, gets on well with everyone, a real character around the group. We saw him entertaining the crowd in the field in the test matches, and I think it's probably that little bit of freshness that perhaps we need. It's been a long season with all the COVID ins and outs and everything happening, so getting a new player in of that caliber can just be something that could just give us that little extra kick going into the knockouts.
Thanks, Chris.
Awesome. If there wasn't anyone else that needed to ask a question, we could probably wrap this one up. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And I'll send the link to you guys, and just drop me a note if you need it ASAP and I can flick you the link.
Thanks, Patrick. Cheers, Chris.
Patrick.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.